Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching, email coaching, small group coaching, as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. You may also want to check out my mini course, Telepathically Connect with Your Specific Person. So if you're interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I want to talk about the 3 most common mistakes people make when they're manifesting their specific person. These are things I see over and over again in the comments of my videos, also in my coaching clients, things I discuss with people all the time. So today, I wanted to make a video to actually highlight those mistakes and help you guys, all of you manifesting a specific person, avoid them from now onwards. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So let's start with the first mistake. Most common mistake number 1 when manifesting a specific person, waiting for the 3D to change before you can change your state. And I understand this is how we're all socially conditioned. I understand this is how we've trained our mind to work and to think. I understand most of us, especially when we're starting out, are taking a more passive approach to the 3D. Essentially, we're waiting for the 3D to tell us what is going to follow, what to expect, what we should feel, what we should think, what we should expect from our situation. And so I understand that a lot of you find it very challenging to change yourself first, to change your inner perceptions first, to change your state first, before you see any changes in the 3D. A lot of you come to me for coaching or here in the comments and you complain that you can't change your state, you can't change your way of thinking, you cannot change how you imagine about the situation, how you imagine about your relationship with your SP, because the 3D is such and such and such, because the 3D is showing you such and such circumstances, because the old story is such and such, because your SP has said this and that, and so on. Unfortunately, what that does is that it keeps you stuck in the old story and in the old circumstances, and you are blocking and limiting yourself from being able to manifest something better, from being able to manifest an improvement in your circumstances and in your relationship with your specific person. Cut here. As conscious manifestors, we know that our imagination, our thoughts, our states, our assumptions precede what the 3D shows us, and not the other way around, even though we are conditioned our whole lives to think the other way around. So unless we put in the inner work to change our own state, to change our own perceptions, to change our own assumptions, to change our own expectations about the situation, the 3D is likely to remain the same as long as we stay dwelling in the old things, in the old story, in the old circumstances. So that's a big mistake many of you manifesting a specific person are making. So you want to be very deliberate, you want to be very purposeful in putting in the inner work, in practicing your state of the wish fulfilled, revisiting that state in imagination over and over and over again until that becomes your dwelling state, until that becomes your dominant state. And then you are going to start seeing changes in the 3D. Then it's going to start getting pushed out in the 3D once you and your perceptions and your feelings about the situation start to change. Second most common mistake when manifesting a specific person, giving up too easily. And especially when the 3D is showing things that you don't like or when the 3D is showing no change. So a lot of you guys, when you're manifesting a specific person, and don't get me wrong here, I get the emotional involvement that goes into it. I totally get it. But so many of you are so inclined to give up at the first sign of the 3D showing some opposition, or the 3D not showing you what you like, what you would prefer, or the 3D showing no change. If this is truly a desire that you want, if this is truly a desire that you're committed to, then you need to persist, you guys. Giving up every time the 3D is showing you something that you don't like, or perhaps you're having an off day and you're having so many doubts that day and so many opposing thoughts, and you decide to just give up on your inner practice because I can't do that, I have so many opposing thoughts, I'm giving up. Well, what are you giving up on? Or if you've been practicing for a little while and you haven't yet seen any change, you haven't yet seen any movement, and you're inclined to give up, You guys need to develop resilience. You need to decide how committed you are to your goal and to your desire. And if you decide that you're very committed to it, if you decide that you really, really want it, if you decide that you're not just lukewarm or wishy-washy about it, you guys need to stick to it. You need to follow through. Yes, the old story might still be coming up because it's still in your consciousness. Yes, the 3D might not show movement or change immediately. Yes, you're absolutely going to have off days. We all do. All of us do. Yes, you might even see things that you really, really don't like in the 3D at times. These are all normal things. These are all parts of the game. But you can't be giving up every time that you're facing an obstacle. Because that's what you've been programmed to do. That's what you've been doing your whole life. You're afraid of that temporary mental and emotional discomfort that you may feel by delving into a new reality, by daring to create in imagination a new reality and dwelling in that. You feel scared by the inner work you have to do, and then you're inclined to give up. Well, guess what though? This is what you've been doing your whole life. And do you have your SP by doing that? No. So why not try something else? Why not try something different? Why not start developing resilience? Why not start developing some patience and some persistence and perseverance? And just follow through with yourself. At the end of the day, it is your desire. Giving up means giving up on yourself, giving up on a desire that you really, really want. So follow through with yourself, follow through with what you want, follow through with your inner practice, even if you're having an off day, even if your 3D showed you something that you didn't quite like. It's okay. Like I said, these things might happen, and in the long run, they mean nothing. When you have your SP and when you're back together with your SP or together with your SP, they're not going to mean nothing. So no more giving up at the slightest inconvenience, whether that is your own thoughts, your own doubts, or something that you saw in the 3D. And start developing that resilience, start developing that perseverance, start developing patience and persistence. Especially if you have an old story with your SP that is still upsetting you, or if you're having circumstances that are upsetting you, this is the only way to write over that old story, by practicing the new story over and over and over and over again in imagination over a period of time until it starts becoming dominant within you. Most common mistake number 3 when manifesting a specific person: being too impatient. This doesn't mean that your manifestation is going to take a long time. It doesn't have to. However, it also doesn't have to be, and in most cases it isn't, especially if you have a backstory and if you have some resistance towards that desire. In most cases, it isn't that you just did your inner practice for a day or 2 days or 3 days and then the 3D magically changed. Unfortunately, a lot of people manifesting an SP are very influenced by today's instant gratification culture. We're so used to being connected 24/7 through technology, having instant information, going on social media, and instantly finding what we want, that we tend to expect that if we put in the work for a day or two, then the 3D is going to magically reflect it immediately. Now, sometimes that does happen, especially if that inner practice is strong enough to actually bring about a change in your inner state. That can absolutely happen. I'm not saying it can't. Instant manifestations do exist and they are a thing. However, not every manifestation is an instant manifestation or even a very fast manifestation. In most cases, when you have resistance towards your desire, when you have a backstory that you need to write over, most people are going to need at least several days to a few weeks to start fully writing over that old story. And that means several days to a few weeks of consistent daily practice of your new state, of your new story. In some cases, depending on your resistance, it can be even longer. So you need to put in the inner practice first. You need to practice your new story first and saturate yourself in that new story and feel that inner change in your state first before the 3D can start showing you any movement. So please don't be so impatient. It doesn't mean that if you put in the work for a day or 2 days or 3 days and you haven't seen movement and you haven't seen a change in the 3D yet, that you're doing something wrong or that your manifestation is not working. It starts working from the moment you start putting in the inner practice and the inner work. So stay consistent and don't get so overly attached to the concept of time. Once your new state becomes dominant within you, and that's why you're doing the technique, that's a good reminder. You're doing the techniques to change your own state and to change your own perceptions. This is when the 3D is going to start showing you movement towards the direction that you want. How long that takes varies widely from person to person. As I said, in some cases, it can be immediate or same day. In most cases, in my experience, it can be anything from days to weeks to even months. And in some cases, depending on your levels of resistance, it might take even longer. So you want to be patient with yourself. You want to be gentle with yourself. You want to be practicing your inner state for yourself first in order for you to feel better in the first place. And be assured that the 3D is going to follow sooner or later. So I hope this has been a helpful overview of the most common mistakes that people make when they're manifesting a specific person. I hope that you now have a clearer idea of what to avoid and what to do instead. And just stay persistent, stay consistent, your SP is going to be yours. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.